Title of today's lesson is Accomplices, Idols in Our Tents. Idols in our tents. Now, many times it is emphasized that we, as those that fear the Most High, must turn away from sin to serve Him. There are many sins to choose from, but many overlook a sin which is just as condemning as the others. The sin of being a witness to evil, yet never speaking up. This sin is actually a huge sin which destroys our neighborhoods for generations. For example, we like to talk about the drug dealers, murderers. But what about the families who know exactly who they are and look to benefit from their evils? Or how about those who witness evil and instead of correcting a friend or reporting the evil, they simply keep quiet and allow that person to grow more and more rebellious? Lack of action is like a person who has a disease but never decides to do anything about it, right? So lack of action is really inaction. Eventually, death is imminent. Let's address this evil and learn of what we must do if we look to make it into the kingdom of heaven, right? Now, it's kind of looking at this this morning, really examining this, and do we, look at scenarios where we've first examined ourselves and said, you know what? Yeah, I'm maybe not the exact of the scenario, but I do have scenarios like this that can fall into this ballpark. Anybody? Well, you don't have to put up your hand, but self-examination is key. And I'm gonna say, yeah, I understand some of the points that were made here. I've witnessed in my life, sadly to say, but to some degree it has helped to understand the ills of our people. But I've witnessed areas that, a lot of drugs in those communities and whatnot, and know what it is to see where the family knew what was going on. It was good when the money was coming in. But then when, the police come and the house get kicked in, and I'm telling you, in those cases, they're not just, it depends. Not in all cases, but in most cases. When it's really extreme scenarios and whatnot. In most cases, it's not, let me not disturb anybody in the house. Let me just knock Kareem's door. And we came for Kareem. In a lot of cases, it's everybody on the floor. Every room's being searched. Everybody, until I can identify who everybody's hand is going to be cuffed. And we're taking everybody in. So usually scenarios, that's how it plays out. And, other scenarios, it's the girl was enjoying everything. She was getting all the bags. She enjoyed when, people said, this is her man, and look at him, and all the other girls wanted him based on his status within, the little community that I'm operating in. He was known, the car he drove, and my hair every week was done. No girl could talk to me. And then, when they come for him, you have some that will be there, and you have some that say, okay, well, boy, I'm going to move on to the next person who can support me. And, it was all good. The brother's in there in jail, yeah, it was all good when she was getting the money. But now, where is she? Right? And, we learn those harsh realities. But the main point is that, we always have to, we always have to be able to see it for what it really is. And, you know, a lot of times we're guilty by association, or we're accomplices. And, you know, it's no different than in some of these big corporate organizations that are running Ponzi schemes on people. Yeah, all the employees and stuff like that, especially those executive tops, they were all benefiting from the fraud that was going on. And then after, when FBI is coming in, you know, one gives up the next one, gives up the other one, or I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah, you knew. You turned a blind eye to it. And, you know, we got to be careful of that. Right? We really have to be careful because at times, you know what I mean, we get compromised through some of those affiliations. And, you know, we got to take a clear stand on where we stand with the Most High. Right? So let's get Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6.
Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse number 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Most High thy power. The Most High thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Right, so the Most High has chosen the children of Israel to be a special people. A people to reflect his goodness, his righteousness within the earth. So we were not supposed to fit the stereotypical life of sinners. We were called for a higher purpose. The purpose of being guardians of this earth, rulers who were to project the appearance of the righteous kingdom of heaven above. Right? So we were supposed to be, as it is in heaven, so shall it be in earth. We were supposed to be a replica of that. But look at what we have become. And Daniel touched on it today when we were reading Daniel. Daniel said we have become a reproach to all the people around us. And instead of the example of what to do as God's chosen people, we became the example of what not to do. You know, in the eyes of those who rule, in the eyes of the earth, right? Now we know that a lot of that has come through social engineering, through Jim Crow laws, through certain policies, like for instance, you can't have a man in the house, which led to the families being separated, fatherless children. We know that they use movies, and I was talking about my dad about this super flying those pimp movies to steer men from being fathers to now being pimps and all these things. So there's a lot of things that factored into who we have become today. We cannot deny that. But at the same time, we have to look at ourselves and say to ourselves, you know what? Based on what they have portrayed us to be, is that who we really are? And now that we understand who we really are, we understand that we have the responsibility to change that narrative on how people look at us being the children of God. Right? We have to work twice as hard. Why? Because a lot of people already are looking at us as, you know what? We're going to do crime. It's like, I went to the gas station to pump some gas. It was so funny. I find I can laugh at a lot of things. So we're in the gas station. The guy comes in and the guy was buying something and the store clerk was holding it like in, let me see if the payment goes through. Right? The guy says to him, he goes, what do you think? I'm going to steal it? Do you think I'm going to steal it? And he goes like this.
Oh, wow.
He's like, look at me. You think I'm going to steal this? And he's pointing at his skin color. So when he's pointing at his skin color and saying, I'm laughing because I'm saying to myself, you got to pick, I'm not going to start a battle with everyone. But in my head, I'm just like, hold on, white people steal too? It's not just black people who steal. You know what I mean? But I just was looking at that mindset, as in, come on, brother, you should know anything white's good, right? So I looked at that and I just, you see the two different mindsets. So you see the privilege, and then you see the mindset where, in a lot of cases, people will look at us like, okay, they're about to do a crime. They're about to do something. You know what I mean? So understanding those things helps me to better understand how much of a job we need to do to represent the Most High in this earth. Because that's who we were made to do. That's what we were designed to do, right? Let's continue, though. Let's get 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 5.
We're going to the book of 1 Peter's family, chapter 2. We'll be reading 5 to 11 for those of you who want to write it down.
Right? And really and truly, that's the stand for all those who call upon the Most High. Right? To make sure that we do our best job to represent Him. Go on, though.
Ye also, as lively stones, are built up a spiritual house and holy priesthood to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to the Most High by Yeshua the Anointed.
Go on.
Wherefore also it is contained in the scripture, Behold, I lay in Zion a chief cornerstone, elect, precious, and he that believeth on him shall not be confounded. Unto you, therefore, which believe he is precious, but unto them which he be disobedient, the stone which the builders disallowed, the same is made the head of the corner.
Right, speaking about Christ. Go on.
And a stone of stumbling, and a rock of offense, even to them which stumble at the word, being disobedient, whereunto also they were appointed. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation.
Right, now are they still stumbling at this block? At this cornerstone? 100%. Right? Now you go to, let's say we go to the Greeks, they'll be like, give me philosophy. Right? We go to our own people and say, you know what? The reason why we're in this scenario, this is what's going on. We're under these curses. We need to come back to Christ. They're looking at you like, Christ? That ain't paying bills. Right? They're looking at you like, bro, what are you telling me? You're telling me that I can't hustle no more? Because we understand to follow Christ, we got to do what? We have to lose our lives to gain lives. Right? And for them, that's a stumbling block. They can't comprehend that. So therefore, they're still stumbling on the cornerstone. The only thing that can save us, we are still stumbling on it, because it's not trending. Right? Go on.
A holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should shew forth the praises of him who had called you out of darkness into this marvelous light, which in time past were not a people, but are now the people of the Most High, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy. Dearly beloved, I beseech you, as strangers and pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lusts, which war against the soul.
All right. So the Father called us out of darkness into the light so that we could defeat darkness in the very end. That battle starts inwardly. That darkness must go. Hiding it does not change judgment. Right? So, not dealing with the reality. Being real with ourselves. Right? Because, a lot of times we think we're deceiving others, and really and truly we're just deceiving ourselves. So we got to be real with this. Call it for what it is. Identify it for what it is. If I don't get this right, I ain't making it. It's that simple. There's no gray areas in this. Right? And even though it's sobering and scary at the same time, it's the reality. So let's continue though. And let's get Joshua chapter 7 verse 10.
All right. We're in the book of Joshua chapter 7. We'll be reading 10 to 21. Oh, actually 10 to 26. You ready?
Yeah.
And the Most High said unto Joshua, Get thee up, wherefore liest thou thus upon thy face? Israel hath sinned, and they have also transgressed my covenant, which I've commanded them. For they have even taken of the accursed thing, and have also stolen and disassembled also, and they have put it even among their own stuff. Therefore the children of Israel could not stand before their enemies, but turned their backs before their enemies, because they were accursed. Neither will I be with you any more, except ye destroy the accursed from among you.
Right, now let's pause there, and I was thinking about this morning. Does Israel still have accursed things amongst us? 100%. Right? Now I'm going to say as a whole, right? Because guess what? Many of us will have our Jesus pieces. And someone say, Deacon, what are you talking about? Or someone online will be like, what do you mean Jesus pieces? Well, according even to Christ and his own words, we should not have any imagery of worship attained to worshiping God. Right? Nothing in the heavens, nothing in earth, whatnot. But a lot of people will have that, right? Which we can say, according to the Bible standard, that would be considered an idol. Right? Another thing, there's a lot of things that we have that are considered unclean according to the Bible. And, we have those things as well. Right? So there's things that we have that according to the Most High that can be considered accursed things. And if we eventually have to free ourselves from those things. Why? Because those things will hinder us from being able to fight against the enemy. Right? So we can't, on one hand, have one foot in, and then on the other hand, we're still holding on to these accursed things. Because in the end of the day, we will constantly fail in battle. Right? It's having one foot in, having one foot out. Right? So we got to examine ourselves. Look at these accursed things. Right? Go on.
Verse number 13. Up, sanctify the people, and say, sanctify yourselves against tomorrow. For thus said the Most High Power of Israel, there is an accursed thing in the midst of thee. O Israel, thou canst not stand before thine enemies until ye take away the accursed thing from among you.
Right? So we cannot stand before our enemies until we take that cursed thing from amongst us. Go on.
In the morning, therefore, ye shall be brought according to your tribes, and it shall be that the tribe which the Most High taketh shall come according to the families thereof, and the family which the Most High shall take shall come by households, and the household which the Most High shall take shall come man by man. And it shall be that he that is taken with the accursed thing shall be burnt with fire, he and all that he hath, because he had transgressed the covenant of the Most High, and because he had wrought folly in Israel. So Joshua rose up early in the morning, and brought Israel by their tribes, and the tribe of Judah was taken. And he brought the family of Judah, and he took the family of the Zarites, and he brought the family of the Zarites man by man, and Zabdi was taken. And he brought his household man by man, and Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah was taken. And
right? Now let's just pause here for a second. Okay. At what point do you say, yo, okay, it's me. At what point? And, I'm highlighting that because, you can, anybody dealing with sin and have it publicly, brought forth and whatnot, you can understand you're trying to hide that shame, so to speak, right? So we understand that, right? But at what point, because I'm saying in my head, this guy probably thought he can hide. And thought that, okay, you know what? Maybe they're not going to get me. Maybe it's someone else. Right? So rather than looking at himself, you say, maybe they'll skip past me and they, Most High will not see that it was me who took the cursed thing. But I'm saying as they get, hold on, they're at that family and only my family is next. Right? and burn and fires the judgment. Most High mercy, please, it was me. You know what I mean? But he probably thought he can hide. Go on, though.
And he brought his household man by man, and Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, and the tribe of Judah was taken. And Joshua said unto Achan, my son, give, I pray thee, glory to the Most High Power of Israel, and make confession unto him, and tell me now what thou hast done. Hide it not from me.
Right, go on.
And Achan answered Joshua and said, indeed, I have sinned against the Most High Power of Israel, and thus have I done. When I saw among the spoils a goodly Babylonish garment, and 200 shekels of silver, and a wedge of gold of 50 shekels weight, then I coveted them, and took them, and behold, they are hid in the earth in the midst of my tent, and the silver under it.
Right? So what did he do? He coveted those things that he found. Right? Now, believe it or not, coveting can lead us to serve another God. Right? And the Bible makes it clear you can't serve two masters. You can't serve me, or the Most High, should I say, and manna, which is money. So his money made him break the commandment or the precept that was given to him through the Most High. And what he did not do is he did not consider, and that's the sometimes with the spirit of coveting, it really can blind us to not care about anything else, anybody else, so to speak, other than himself. Right? So himself, he's saying, you know what? Let me take this, and my family will benefit off of the gold and everything else. Right? Let's continue, dog. Or let me read this.
There's more.
Sorry, go on, bro.
So Joshua, verse 22. So Joshua sent messengers, and they ran into the tent, and behold, it was hid in his tent, and the silver under it. And they took them out of the midst of the tent, and brought them into Joshua and into the children of Israel, and laid them out before the Most High. And Joshua and all Israel with him took Achan, the son of Zerah, and the silver, and the garment, and the wedge of gold, and his sons, and his daughters, and his oxen, and his asses, and his sheep, and his tent, and all that he had, and they brought them into the valley of Achor. And Joshua said, Why hast thou troubled us? The Most High shall trouble thee this day. And all Israel stoned him with stones, and burned them with fire, after they had stoned them with stones. And they raised over him a great heap of stones to this day.
So they stoned them, and then they burned them. And I'm putting the emphasis on them, right? Going back to what I was talking about earlier. So that we are clear on the details, the silver was actually instructed to go into the treasury of the Most High, right? So that first campaign that they did to take down Jericho, all the proceeds were supposed to be sanctified and go into the sanctuary of the Most High, right? Rather than him being okay with that, as I said, that spirit of coveting was thinking to myself, I need to get something out of this. What's in it for me, right? Not one soldier was to take a single piece for themselves on this particular victory, right? Now you'll find that on the second victory, all the spoil was distributed amongst all of them. Everybody was able to take what they wanted to take. But the Most High asked them on this campaign, no man take anything, everything come into the treasury, right? There was also a golden idol hidden with a Babylonian garment covering them. His whole family died because of the fact that they were aware of the sin and said nothing. There is no difference today. A person does evil, and others either find a way of benefiting from it, or they stay quiet out of fear of allegiance. Right? And we got to be careful of that. In fact, in a court of law, you know what they call that? Perjury? Not perjury. I was going to say, you're accomplice after the fact. After the matter, after the fact. So you knew this person was convicted of the crime, and I think another term they use is aiding and abetting or something like that.
Yeah.
Right? So you aided them, and I tell you how this looks sometimes. And it's kind of hard. I'm trying to give a good example, but it's hard. Aiding and abetting. Now I use criminals, right? So the guy did the crime. Crime's been made, right? The perpetrator, right? Now, you know, sometimes as family we can kind of get ourselves caught up in this as well. So here, I'll use scenarios like this. So, did the crime. Family member did the crime. Cousin, I need to stay by you. I need a place to lay low. They come by you. You know, your rationality is like, boy, I can't leave my cousin out on the road and whatnot. Right? And sometimes we get caught up in there. But you know, if they come to the house, you might be also charged as well for aiding and abetting, right? Some of us will come to cousin and be like, oh, it's my cousin. It's Babylon. Let's just do it, right? So that's some way we can do it. From a church perspective, I'm going to say there's scenarios where maybe somebody did something in the church, was put on a suspension or something of that nature, and we're aiding and abetting. We got to be careful of that as well, right? Because in the end of the day, if we're not going to help that person repent, if we're only going to add on to the folly and their foolishness, then we're actually accomplices in the matter, right? So what I usually try to do, if I have scenarios like that where I have friends who live certain lives and they're trying to make me accomplice, I kind of tell them where I stand. I'm like, I can't do that. This is where I stand. This is where I'm at. Da, da, da. You need to do this. You need to, you need to change. You need to turn, whatever. But I make it clear what my stance is. Therefore, Therefore, if anybody was going to say I was an accomplice, there's enough evidence to prove that I did aid in this, right? In fact, I try to give them the right advice how to go about this, right? So we got to make sure that we're on the right side of it, and I'm more just speaking about it from a church perspective, right? That was not easy. Let's continue though. So it says, a person does evil and others either find a way of benefiting from it, or they stay quiet out of fear of alliances, right? Now another example of this. Anybody have a friend who steals? I'm glad no one said no. But I'm going to say, I knew some friends back in the day that this was their living. They would go and they would take something and they would come and sell it. And as long as they were bringing in the goods, everything was good. I would buy, I would support. And, I'm getting it at a good price. I'm telling you, this is how we rationalize these things in our mind and be like, you know what, guess what? I can go pay, some of us who go to the extreme, I can go pay Babylon and them tax and government and da-da-da-da, or I could pay my brethren or whatnot. Well, technically you're aiding and abetting him. Because what you're doing is you're fueling his criminal enterprise. And,
No, I said that's what they call clutches.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we know them as. But, this criminal enterprise you are contributing to, and you're not helping that person to break free of that cycle, that chain, right? Yep.
I don't mind being transparent. I remember when I got one of my first retail jobs was Jacob, downtown Eaton Center.
Yeah.
And for maybe about a few months while in school, doing this like 10, 14 hour a week, for a few months, I didn't realize when the Tristan and Club Monaco girls were coming over with lots of clothing and inventory, I just didn't understand the retail industry. So I thought it was something between the shops that was legit, but I learned that they were trading clothing. And when I discovered it, they used to call me Lindo as a nickname, right? That's my grandfather's name. When I discovered it, they thought like I'd be like a snitch, because they used to call me also church girl. So they discovered it to shut me up, but I wasn't going to squeal. They said, you help yourself. So I was probably like around, I don't know, in my early 20s. So I was scared, so I would take little items like socks and I really was, right? But they were full on jeans and full on outfits. But remember, I'm going to Sabbath every weekend. I'm going to church. So eventually it's weighing on me. This is going on for a few weeks. So basically one Sunday I was doing inventory and one of the girls, who is still my friend, called me and said, Lindo, the manager's coming in today. You need to go in the back room and go up on this ladder and pull down some stuff and empty it out and put it back on the racks. It was like suitcases of tons of clothes. I don't know, and I got so frightened, I thought I broke myself falling off this ladder, going up and down to get this clothes out of the suitcase and hang up. Anyways, long story short.
That was the clothes they were taking?
Yeah, they were packed up, someone was going to come and pick it up. And even the guys in inventory from Monaco and Tristan would go in. It was just crazy what was going on. Anyways, within maybe about 4 or so months, because I started September, by the December, my heart was hot in me. Because I got myself caught up in aiding and abetting and taking my little stuff, right? And I'm like, okay, you better quit this job. Because I don't know how else to deal with this. I quit the job, and by the January, there was some suspicion because they were taking, I was like, y'all are greedy. You're taking hundreds of dollars of clothing. Anyways, I quit the job by January. Police, Babylon come up in there and arrested a few of the girls. I mean, because of who they found the source was, they literally just got a slap on their wrist. They're all university students, good kids. But anyhow, the bottom line is police came up in there and took them out of the mall, and that was so shameful because they were well known in the whole mall. So many stores were doing this together. But I was just saying, thank the most time back then, God, I would say, that I did quit. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I was, even if I was taking a socks or $300 jeans, I was doing it too. It don't matter, but
I'll be honest, sis, I probably would have been one too. I'll keep it real with you. Because I said, the thing is, sometimes being the have-nots, we're always trying to look to save a dollar here and there. And, it's so easy for us to compromise in that scenario. But let's just call it for what it is. And we can look back at it and say, yeah, okay, I was guilty of that. You know what I mean? But now I understand that, okay, here what? I'm not going to aid and abet no more. Right? So I said, I had a friend that literally made a living off of that. And I used to laugh because I'd be like, yo, he's your personal designer. Right? And eventually we had to put a stop to that. And just trust the Most High and allow the Most High to provide. And, I had to go back and read Matthew 6 where he says, look at the lilies of the field. Can any of this be dressed like it looks, or, not even Solomon could look this fly. Right? So, as I said, we've all, to some degree, have compromised or aided and abetted and benefited from it. And now we're identifying it so that we can say, okay, here what? Let me work on this and whatnot. And someone will still need to work on it, right?
My daughter, she, a couple years ago, when she was in school as a young age, she followed her friend. And she went and got a nail done in the home. And she and her friend both, after they finished doing the nail, they didn't pay for it. And so the police were called. But because her friend was pregnant, she couldn't go as fast. So they called her. And so she had to tell them who the other person was, which the police showed up at my house. So after they finished, I stopped her in front of the police. The police said, no, wait until I leave, and then you can do whatever you want, but don't do it in front of us. So after they're gone, I disciplined her, and then I let her write like a whole sheet of apology. And I went over back to the mall with her, and I let her give them the letter, read it to them, and apologize. And then I paid for the nail. Because if I had let it go, for sure she would go back and do the nail.
So you have to kind of go and say, let me represent my household, and that's not the daughter I raised.
That's right.
And let me represent who we are, right, as God-fearing people, right? And that's definitely key. But as I said, we've all to some degree have compromised in that area. And, I'm holding on my story because I got a lot of stories, but I've been on both ends of the stick. So I've been, the perpetrator and I've been the accomplice, right? So I understand it from both angles, not only a client. All right, let's continue. Let's get Proverbs chapter 29. And let's get Proverbs 29. While everyone's turning there, so we go 29 verse 24. But I'm going to this whole stigma of speaking the truth, not being accomplices, right? Depending on where you're from, it's really hard, It's not an easy thing to do. And to be honest, like the community that I come from, the last thing you want to be known as an informant or as a snitch. And to be honest, that's not something, you know, like that's something in our community, I would say the urban community, because it's everywhere now. You know what I mean? It's everywhere, right? Where that's the one thing, a person can die, and even in their death, it's still haunting them. So let me give you an example of what I mean. Well, if your father was a snitch, you're the son of a snitch. You're the son of a rat. You see what I'm saying? So you inherit, exactly, you inherit the name. And I'm telling you, that's something you don't want to inherit. But the reality is taking a stand for what is right has never been easy. It's never been easy. Right? Now, at the same time, I do apply some wisdom with that. Because in the end of the day, if I can judge matters and deal matters eternally amongst us, I try to do that in every possible way. Why? Because sometimes calling the outside forces, they're coming in to destroy all of us. So, you know, that's a wisdom you do have to apply. But at the same time, you know, we've seen evil happen and turn our heads and only until it affects our houses. And when it affects our houses, guess what? Then we're looking for somebody to say something. That's how it usually always happens. So when things were happening to other family, I seen this person get shot or this, that, and the mom was pleading for her son. Did anybody see anything? Anybody say? And all of us, out of fear, out of thinking there's so many different things attached to this, we turn a blind eye. But then the minute it's our son or our family, now we want justice. Now we're up there, we're on the platform, we're speaking for justice and this and that. But what about all the times you had the opportunity to give justice? And that's the part that we have to really consider. We got the exact same thing that we were sowing and reaping, now it's just coming back on our heads, and we are experiencing what others had to experience. So we really have to really be careful on turning a blind eye, right? I'd rather say something, take a stand, and say something, and whatever that person chooses to do with what I said, at least I took a stand and I said something, right? But to say nothing and really do nothing, say nothing, I mean, let's look at what the alphabet community has done through that. Nobody has said nothing. The people that were supposed to say something, the people of righteousness, which allegedly was supposed to be the church, oh, it's not affecting us. It's not, you know, what they do in the world and what they do in the church. And eventually got into the church. And look at the mess we are in to this day. Where we don't know, in some of these churches, where's the men? Right? But let's continue. Let's get Proverbs 29:24. Whoso is partner with a thief hated his own soul. He heareth cursing and bewrayeth it not. Right? So you want to be a partner with a thief. You want to be associated with certain things and think that you're not going to feel some of the consequences of it. It's not a reality. Right? So he who accomplishes a thief, let me tell you why he hates himself. Because eventually, and I've seen areas and situations like this, where eventually, you want to know what happens when a thief has no more people to thief from? You become a victim. So, I know, okay, you're a thief. I'm not a thief. I don't really want you around me because I know how a thief operates. And even if I have you around me, I'm being mindful that I'm not going to leave certain things out because let me help you from yourself. Right? But we have to understand that and see that. Right? Where, as I said, I'm living in areas where all these guys were thieves. And if they weren't thieves, well, a robber and a thief, I think that's the same. Right? Some will say, no, they robbed, they were more manly, and they confronted and said, give me it. A thief is more secretive and Well, you know, some will justify it like that. But nonetheless, as I said, I've seen this where it has spread. And now everybody's seeing it. And now your whole community is riddled with this sin. Right? It's no different than what happened with the drugs. Started off with one guy. He had the fly car, whatnot. And then everybody wanted to see that and inspire to become that. Right? Let's continue though. So if you join yourself with sinners, you hate yourself. You will also be judged for those allegiances in sin and rebellion. Even if you hear the evil plan and you don't correct it, you are still in support of the wicked deed because you didn't make an attempt to stop it in some way. Right? So if you had the ability to prevent a scenario from happening and you said nothing, then you bear some of that blame, right? Now, I'll use this. The Most High set us up to be watchmen, right? As those who can see, we're set up to be watchmen in this earth, right? Now, what happens to the watchman if he sees it and doesn't blow his trumpet? Blood's on his hand. But if he blows the trumpet and gives the warning, and the person who heard the warning but didn't take heed to the warning, and now blood falls on his hand, then we're exempt from that. Right? So we have to say something if it's in our power to say something. And as I said, if we don't, then if we're not part of the solution, we're part of the problem. Sorry, bro. Here.
Yeah, just like you said for that, Leviticus chapter 5, it says, and if a soul sin and hear the voice of swearing and is a witness, whether he has sinned or known of it, if he do not utter it, then he shall bear his iniquity.
Exactly. Thank you for that, brother, right? So we will bear iniquities if we say nothing and do nothing, right? You know, I was thinking about an example, and a kind of good way to look at this is King Jehoshaphat. Now, King Jehoshaphat, what's King Jehoshaphat known for, if anything? Well, he was a righteous king, okay? Now, what was the one thing that put a stain on his righteousness? Anybody? Linking in with Ahab. Right? Who was Ahab serving? Baal, aka Satan. So, Jehoshaphat, and I tell you, sometimes this is how it happens. Jehoshaphat understood that the northern tribe, that's our people. That's our family. We want Israel to be we want all the tribes to be under one roof again. So he compromised and he linked in with the king of Israel as well as another king. And they went, let's use this scenario. The king of Israel he linked in with. And he went on a campaign against the Philistines. You guys remember what happened on that campaign? He almost lost his life. Right? Remember he dressed up as the king of Israel? And then they were chasing after him and then he had to flee. And then the arrow hit the king of Israel because the Most High don't miss on his targets. Right? But that left a stain on his reputation. Now, why did the Most High, you would think if the Most High was with King Jehoshaphat on this one campaign, why did they fail it? Why did they lose this battle? Well, simply they lost this battle because King Jehoshaphat linked in to the enemies of the Most High. And therefore, if we're linking in with the enemies of the Most High, are we friends of the Most High? So the Most High says, hold on, what do I have to do with Baal? Me and Baal, we're at war with each other right now. What does me and Satan have to do with one another? But I'm going to tell you how this plays out in real time. And I'll use this. One day a person asked me, said, you know, let's go downtown, let's go protest. And what's going on downtown is you got to protest, and you got all the faiths coming together to protest. Sounds good, like a good idea. So I'm there reasoning with myself. I said, hold on. So we got Muhammad down there. We got Baal down there. We got all these different gods down there. And us, as the children of the Most High, as the representatives of the Most High, is going to link up in there, be on one accord to change a narrative? Huh? It will never work. That's no different than, and I'm going to use this. I'll even use this because this even hits home. They're calling on the Tetragrammaton. We're calling on the name given to Moses. Someone will say, like, can we all get along? Can we all go out and let's go out together and let's preach together and bring Israel all back to the Most High? Let's fight this war together. Is that any different than Jehoshaphat and Ahab? I would say no. So we have to understand that those that are still operating with the adversary, our job is not to become yoked with them. Our job is to help them to become unyoked from that spiritual bondage, to be free now, so that we can now be calling and serving the same God. But we can't be accomplices, so to speak. Think that we can come together with Baal and all these other gods and fight a goal and think it's going to be prosperous. No, that's against the Most High, should I say, right? Because Most High says, what do I have to do with Baal? There's no other saving power but me, right? Let's continue though.
God.
So let me read this again. So if you join yourself with sinners, you hate yourself. You will also be judged for those allegiance in sin and rebellion. Now, does this mean that, hey, you know what? Because some will say, well, Christ went amongst the sinners. He ate with them. He sat with them. He reasoned with them. Now, does it mean that we can't still save souls that are still in darkness? No. But as I said, we got to make clear where we stand, even amongst our friends. This is where I am. This is the way that I'm walking. This is the way that I'm striving to live my life. A lot of friends will respect it. In fact, a lot of friends will look at you like a pillar and say, okay, you know what? When stuff hit the fan, I'm going to be coming to you for help. No, that's not going to happen. But I'll give you I'll guide you and give you the stuff that you need to know so that you can make the commitment and change yourself. But this is what people know me for. This is what you want to be known for. Right? Let's continue. Let's get Psalm chapter 50, verse 16.
God. In the book of Psalms, chapter 50, we'll be reading 16 to 23. Verse number 16. But unto the wicked the Most High said, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth? Seeing thou hatest instructions, and castest my words behind thee, when thou sawest a thief, then thou consentest with him, and has been partaker with the adulterers.
Right? So when you saw us a thief, rather than correcting him or whatnot, you're looking at him and saying, and you know it's funny, because I'll tell you, I saw a skit on this, but it's really a whole idea. Truck breakdown in the road, right? You see two of your brethren, or people you know, run up on the truck and take off two things off the truck. Right? Are you the person that's going to say, guys, stop. We shouldn't be doing this. This is stealing. Or are you going to be the one that jump up on the truck and say, boy, let me grab a piece of bread too. And respect. I came at the right time. Right? I mean, let's be real. But do we see it for what it really is? Is this what the Most High is speaking about when he's speaking about us? Read that again.
All right. Verse number
18.
18. When thou sawest a thief, then thou consentest with him, and hast been partaker with adulterers.
Right? This is speaking about it. We saw the thief, and rather than saying, well, no, we're like, nah, man, go take two more. Pick up one for me and bring up. Well, we're the sixth. And I tell you, oh man, I tell you. Because I grew up in some of these areas, right? I wanted to be the sixth man. So you know what the sixth man is? The lookout.
Yeah.
So you guys go on do your thing. I'll watch. If I see something, I'll make a sound. Woo! And you guys just give me a thing off of it. Right? The six was, Satan convinced you that the six is who you want to be. Because he's not the actual guy in putting himself in the lion's den. He's right there on the cusp. And guess what? He gets a good piece of the reward too. He gets a piece of the bread too. Right? Satan has convinced us. And you know what I mean? But we have to see it for what it is. This is what the Most High is speaking about. Right? Go on.
Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit. Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. Thou slanderest thine own mother's son. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such an one as thyself.
Right? So the person looking at me, you thought I was like one of you guys. This is how the righteous is dealing with those that are operating this way. You thought I was one of you guys. No. Go on.
But I will reprove thee, and set them in order before thine eyes. Now consider this.
Right, so I'm going to tell you where I stand and what this is. Go on.
Ye that forget the Most High, lest I tear you in pieces, and there be none to deliver. Whoso offereth praise glorifieth me, and to him that ordereth his conversation aright will I shew the salvation of the Most High.
Right, and this is Christ talking about, or foreshadowing that salvation that Christ will give to the righteous that do not compromise. So righteous deeds will receive a righteous reward. A lot of us are still like children looking for the next rush. We hate the instructions of the Most High, yet claim we are keeping his laws to those who can't see our everyday goings. The truth will not be hid in judgment, right? So I thought, let's look at this. Righteous deeds, a lot of us are like children, looking for the next rush. Everyone ever felt like that before? So I know, like, for instance, when I was younger, like certain things that people would consider dangerous, I got a rush, adrenaline rush out of doing it. And now when I look back, reflect on it, and I'm saying to myself, that mindset is not normal mindset. So it's like, guy ran in the store. He grabbed something off the counter and ran out the store. As little kids, we'd be like, that's what the man did? He's wild. Da, 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 da. And that guy would be known as, that man there is wild, That man there is about it. Like, that man there will run in the store, grab everything and run. You see what I'm saying? We kind of start to glorify those things. And then the crazy thing about it, it just starts to progress. It starts to get worse and worse, and we start to, that person starts to get praised in the community. So it started off in, that man there back in the day, he used to just go in stores and do this, and then it turned into now he's robbing people and this, and then it turned into now he killed somebody, now he's in jail for this, that. And I'm saying at what point did his friends, the family, and I'm going to say a lot of times the family, there was someone in the family to give him that correction. But I'm saying as friends that were in his inner circle, were we saying, you need to calm down? Or were we those that were fueling him saying, bro, if I was in there, I would have taken out 2 more things. Like, are we those friends? Right? Because we got to be careful. Right? But let's continue, though. So righteous deeds will receive a righteous reward. A lot of us are still like children looking for our next rush. We hate the instructions of the Most High, yet claim we are keeping his laws to those who can't see our everyday going. Right? So some of us are still doing these things, have our little secret things going on, and thinking that the Most High ain't seeing these things, or these things are not being held accountable or held against us in the day of judgment. The truth will not be hid in judgment. Let's get Ecclesiastes.
All right. Going to the book of Ecclesiastes in the Bible, chapter 5. We'll be reading 6 and 7. Suffer not thy mouth to cause thy flesh to sin, neither say thou before the angel that was in an error. Wherefore should the Most High be angry at thy voice and destroy the work of thine hands? For in a multitude of dreams and many words there are also divers vanities, but fear thou the Most High.
Right, so the angels are recording every wicked act that we commit, and there will be no hiding of evil like our people. Let me read it again. So there are angels recording every wicked act we commit, and there will be no hiding of the evil like our people thought they could do in their tents. We must clean up our acts now and have a sense of responsibility for each other. Right? So going back to that self-accountability. Let's get 2 Peter's.
God. Book of 2 Peter's, chapter 2. We read in 9 to 16. Ready?
Yeah.
All right. The Most High knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptations, and to reserve the unjust until the day of judgment to be punished. But chiefly them that walk after the flesh, in the lust of uncleanness, and despise government. Presumptuous are they, self-willed. They are not afraid to speak evil of dignities. Whereas angels, which are greater in power and might, bring not railing accusations against them before the Most High. But these, as natural brute beasts, made to be taken and destroyed, speak evil of the things that they understand not, and shall utterly perish in their own corruption, and shall receive the reward of unrighteousness, as they that count in pleasure to riot in the daytime. Spots they are and blemishes, sporting themselves with their own deceivings, while they feast with you, having eyes full of adultery, and cannot cease from sin, beguiling unstable souls. In the heart they have exercised with covetous practices, cursed children, which have forsaken the right way, and are gone astray, following the way of Balaam, the son of Bosor, who loved the wages of unrighteousness, but was rebuked of his iniquity. The dumb ass speaking with man's voice forbade the madness of the prophet.
Right, so even the donkey itself had to rebuke Balaam, right? Even the donkey itself saying, nah, I'm going to tell you. And then let's look at this for a second. Let's examine this for a second. The donkey could have made him get killed off, no? Lack of a better word. The donkey. So you guys know the story I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. So Balaam was going, he got an offer from the king of Moab that if he curses him, I'll give him half my kingdom. It's a big reward. He wanted the money, right? Even though the Most High, or whatever God he was dealing with, was saying, don't go, don't go. Eventually he went, right? And on his way there, an angel was about to kill him. Now the donkey could have said, here what? I want to free up. Let me not say nothing. But the donkey, remember, the donkey said, yo, you knew me since I was a little donkey, lack of better words. You knew me since I was small. Have I ever acted this way? And he's talking to the donkey, he's like, no, you never acted this way before. But I'm saying that even the donkey as a friend, because remember, he was taking care of the donkey. So the donkey saying, oh, this guy's feeding me. Even the donkey has to say, yo, you don't want to do this. Right? So how much more of us as friends? Seeing a friend or a brother going down a path that's leading to destruction. If the donkey could say something, I'm pretty sure we can say something. Right? Go on though.
which have forsaken the right way, and are gone astray, following the ways of Balaam. We already read it out on there, so got the commentary.
All right, so let me read the commentary. So the one thing that seems to be a common thread is murmuring against those who the Most High set up to help direct our people away from sins. Too often people tend to sit back, murmur, despising the government that has been set up in place because it is contrary to the sin they hope to continue in the dark. They are only able also to deceive those whose souls are still unstable. Is the church leadership a form of government? And we're going to answer that. But let's examine this let's examine this. And this is, I don't want to beat the horse here because this is something we've talked about a few times. But let's examine this. Because this is something that does happen. You do have those that do despise leadership, do despise and operate in the spirit and whatnot. And what we have to be careful of is that we're not aiding and abetting. Right? We're not aiding and abetting. And I'm saying, I think we've all deal with it. Some may deal with it dealing with me. Some may deal with it dealing with higher up and whatnot. And I'm saying we just have to really be careful to make sure that our mindset is, even though where man may fail, the Most High is good and the Most High is operating the ship and the Most High will correct and rebuke his servants and whatnot. But we cannot allow that cancerous spirit to plague the rest of the body, right? Because, as I said, we turn a blind eye to it, eventually it spreads like wildfire, and then the whole church is affected by that spirit. So we got to make sure that as watchmen, as a whole, collectively, we're correcting that spirit and we're rebuking that spirit, right? If not, then we're aiding and abetting, and we have blood in our hands. Because guess what happens? When somebody is affected and somebody leaves, that's a soul that possibly we have lost, right? Only to be judged at the end. So that's blood on our hands. So we got to make sure that we're not aiding and abetting in that scenario there, right? Let's continue though. 1 Timothy chapter 5 verse 17.
The book of 1 Timothy chapter 5. You read in 17 to 20. And it reads 17. Let the elders that rule well be counted worthy of double honor, especially they who labor in the word and doctrine.
Right, especially those who labor in the word and doctrine. Go on.
For the scripture said, Thou shalt not mother the ox that treadeth out the corn, and the laborer is worthy of his reward.
Go on.
Against an elder receive not an accusation, but before 2 or 3 witnesses. Them that sin rebuke before all, that others also may fear.
All right. Now it says, elders really are in seats of rulership. Although you will find a good elder ultimately still serves the people righteously, we sometimes must rebuke sin before all, which for the most part, all also is contrary to those in sin. Right? So let me say this again. So sometimes we must rebuke sin before all. So we must do an open rebuke, which for the most part is contrary to those who sin, meaning they, an open rebuke, it's never fun for anybody. The person receiving it and the person's doing it, to be honest, right? This causes many who are in sin to have problems with the leadership, often saying things like, I don't follow man, to manipulate the ignorant. Here is more proof that elders were part of a spiritual ruler or rulership of our people. Let's go 1 Esdras chapter 9 verse 1.
All right. 1 Esdras chapter 9, we read in 1 to 5. Then Esdras, rising from the court of the temple, went to the chamber of Jonan, the son of Elisab, and remained there, and did eat no meat, nor drink water, mourning for the great iniquities of the multitude. And there was a proclamation in all Jewry and Jerusalem to all them that were of the captivity, that they should be gathered together at Jerusalem, and that whosoever met not there within 2 or 3 days, according as the elders that bear rule appointed, their cattle should be seized to use.
Right, so the elders that bear rule appointed, right? So the elders, they were the rulers over the people. Go on.
their cattle should be seized to be used of the temple, and himself cast out from them that were of the captivity. And in 3 days were all they of the tribe of Judah and Benjamin gathered together at Jerusalem, the 20th day of the 9th month.
Right, so these elders were looking to appoint all the people. They made a government policy that anybody who did not show up, all their belongings would be taken away and their property as well. Right, so this is rulers or elders making governmental policies. Even when we looked at the high priest was dealing with other kings and whatnot. These were government policies that were being done, right? So that's always been the case where Israel has always had a ruler or someone appointed by the Most High who's over us to guide us or be in a position or representation of Christ and the Most High, right? Let's get Hebrews chapter 13, verse 16.
All right. We're going to the book of Hebrews, chapter 13, reading 16 and 18. But to do good and to communicate, forget not.
Right, so this is what we all, in the end of the day, what we want to do. Go on.
For with such sacrifices the Most High is well pleased.
Read it again. But to do good and...
But to do good and to communicate, forget not.
Right, so to do good and to communicate. What should we be communicating about? About doing the good things of the Most High. God? Forget not. Right? Let us not forget those things. Go on.
For with such sacrifices the Most High is well pleased.
These are the things the Most High is well pleased. Go on.
Obey them that have the rule over you, and submit yourselves, for they watch for your souls, as they that must give account, that they may do it with joy and not with grief.
That they may do it with joy and not with grief. Read that again, because I want to highlight this.
Obey them that have the rule over you, and submit yourselves, for they watch for your souls, as they that must give an account, that they may do it with joy and not with grief, for that is unprofitable for you.
Right? So the last thing that we want to do for those who the Most High is appointed to be rulers over the people until Christ comes. Really and truly, they're just holding the spot until Christ comes. Right? It's in our best interest to not make their lives difficult. Right? Read that again for me, brother.
Obey them that have the rule over you, and submit yourselves, for they that watch for your souls, as they that must give an account.
Right, so of they that must give an account, go on.
That they may do it with joy.
That we may do it with joy, go on.
And not with grief.
And not with grief.
For that is unprofitable for you.
For that is unprofitable to you. So I'm not looking, because I'm telling you, you have some people who have this mindset. Guess what? And see how much trouble I can start. You have some people that really sit down and contemplate and say, here, well, I know I'm difficult, and let me see how much trouble I can start. That is not profitable to you. And the sad thing about that mindset, which we really have to check that mindset, because some people say, no, that's just who I am. I'm just that type of person. I like to cause mischief. Right? It's not on your best behalf. And I'm going to show you the deception, how the adversary has deceived that mindset. It's a deceptive mindset. Because, let me tell you why. And I'll tell you a few reasons why. And nor do I say I'm a saint, because I'm not a saint. I'm praying that it can be counted amongst the saints. Right? But the Bible says, the prince of the people, speaking about Satan, shall wear out the saints. You guys know that scripture, right? So it's really Satan's job to try us, to wear us down. So when I see individuals who take on that spirit of trying to try the leaders, trying to purposely be they know what they're doing. They're agitators. Right? I'm saying, is that who Satan's using? And no one will ever look at themselves and say, hold on, Satan will wear out the saints. Well, we know Satan himself ain't coming in here with a tuxedo and saying, I'm going to wear out the saints. We know that he's using individuals. The Bible will refer to them the sons of Baal. Right? Throughout the scriptures, you will see the sons of Baal, and they were children of Israel, some of them. But they got to examine themselves and say to yourselves, are you working for the Most High? Or are you working for the other guy? But the deceiving part about that is that those individuals with that mindset will go home and pray and say, Most High did a good job today, you know. Right? They'll go in prayer and think that what they're doing is right to be done. And I'm saying that's a deception. It's like, I'll give you another example. A scenario happened, and it was wrong. And it bothered me. And I'm fighting against that scenario. It was wrong. But then now it becomes wrong for me now to now go about that any other way than Christ said. So Christ says, go to your brother, go to your thing. But I know, I'm going here, I'm going here, I'm going here. The scenario that happened was wrong. That was wrong. But now the way I'm going about it is also wrong as well. And sometimes when stuff like that happens, we don't see that we're doing the same wrong that we're talking about. We're paying evil for evil. And we got to be careful of that. So going back to the point is that you have some individuals that know that this is how they operate, and they think that they're in good grace with the Most High. That is deceptive. Because the Most High didn't say, the Most High and Christ said, you know what? I need you guys to be on one accord. I need you guys to operate as one. So when people see you, there's no divisions. A nation divided cannot stand. So when they're going home and having their prayers and whatnot,
The Most High not hearing that.
you know, I wasn't going to say that, but I think we can say that. The Most High is not happy with you fighting against those who you're fighting against his work. Right? You're fighting against the Most High's work and thinking the Most High is going to give you a clap on the back. Good job, my humble servant. No, the other guy will. He's saying, respect. And the thing is, you think you're on the other team. No, you're on my team. You don't even know it. We just didn't give you a penny yet. But we got to see it for what it is. So the last thing I want to do is the last thing I want to do is fight against the progression of what the Most High is doing, regardless of how I feel. Because a lot of times what happens is we can also be with that same spirit. It's also the same. It's also a self-willed spirit, because you want your will to be done, not the Most High's will to be done. So we got to be careful of that. Yes, sorry.
This morning we met with Mom at the hospital to have her worship,
Yeah.
and we were reading in Exodus. We're just reading chronologically through the Bible, and where the Most High was speaking to Pharaoh about the plagues that would come upon Egypt, and said that he raised him up for this purpose, to esteem his glory, and then to show his power. And we're saying, oh yeah, what's our purpose? We need to know our purpose, because if the Most High is using us to do that, what you described, then that's so sad, right? That you say whoever is tormented or agitated, the elders, the deacon, the leadership, and you're saying, is that who Satan's using? So within ourselves, we got to know what is our purpose, and what we want the Elohim to use us for that. You know what I mean?
I mean, absolutely.
Hashatan, right?
I mean,
he said that to Pharaoh.
100%. But I'm saying, I've seen, it's like this, I use this. The Most High, we go off, the Most High will use the nations to chastise us. So you have scenarios where I do believe where the Most High can use some of us to chastise us, or to be that thorn in the side. But I look at all those different examples. For instance, the Most High sent the belt. Eventually the belt that he sent, let's look at Edom, is also going to get chastised as well. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of times we don't see that the Most High didn't tell you specifically, operate in the spirit of deceit. And he's not going to tell you to break his commandments in order to bring forth his will. And sometimes we don't see that for what it is, and we compromise with that, right? and we don't help others who operate in that, we compromise. We become affiliates, not affiliates, but guilty. We become accomplices. Thank you. We become accomplices. And you know how we become accomplices? Silence to some degree, but we're willing to listen.
Itchy ears.
And we hear, we spread the narrative as well to some degree, and we've become accomplices to whatever agenda that individual or spirit is trying to bring about. We got to be careful with that, right? It comes to your door, we rebuke it at your door. Deal with it at your door. Say, nah, bro. Speak to, you know what I mean? We got to rebuke it rather than becoming accomplices, right? And that's the whole mindset that I'm really trying to focus on. But let's continue.
It says, pray for us, for we trust we have a good conscience, and all things willing to live honestly.
And all things willing to live honestly. Let me read the commentary. And we're right here, right? So helping to sober up our people from a life of sin is a hard job, and we need the support of all. If you are in union with someone who is doing evil, you add to the problem of the elders being grieved. A grieved elder is a bad thing because we need our leadership to be focused so that we can receive the best care possible with church members, right? So I don't want to spend time debating with individuals about little simple stuff. And I say that why? Because sometimes you look at it and they're like, yo, what are we debating about? Why are we on the phone? Every policy, everything, it's a debate. It's a discussion. And I'm saying to myself, we got to be careful of that. Why? Because while all this is happening, the world around us is falling apart. The mark of the beast is about to be unleashed. World War III is about to happen right now. We ain't got time for that right now. It's time to get the ship ready. Get your food and prep. Get spiritually right. That's what we need to focus on. So I look at these things and I'm saying to myself, okay, well, really and truly, what is Satan trying to do? What is he trying to do? He's trying to keep us distracted. Why? Because if the good man is distracted, guess what? He can't watch over the house. And if he can't watch over the house, the thief come in. So we got to start looking at the distractions and say, no. You're a distraction. Keep my eye on the prize. Continue to focus on what I need to focus on. Because if not, you'll spend a lot of time, energy, strength, dealing with trying to combat all of the distraction. And to be honest, that's a tactic used by, that's an army tactic used by the enemy. Right? Let me distract you. Look over here. Meanwhile, they're coming in through the back door. Let's continue though.
Deuteronomy.
Let's get Deuteronomy.
Chapter 13.
Let's bring this home.
All right. In the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 13, we'll be reading 6 to 11. If thy brother, thy son of thy mother, or the son of thy daughter, or the wife of thy bosom, or thy friend, which is as thine own soul, entice thee secretly, saying, let us go and serve other gods, which thou hast not known, thou nor thy fathers, namely of thy gods of the people which are round about you, nigh unto thee, or far off from thee, from the one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth. Thou shalt not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him, neither shall thine eye pity him, neither shalt thou spare, neither shalt thou conceal him, but thou shalt surely kill him. Thine hand shall be first upon him to put him to death, and afterwards the hand of all the people. And thou shalt stone him with stones that he die, because he has sought to thrust thee away from the Most High thy power, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage, And all Israel shall hear and fear, and shall do no more any such wickedness as this is among you.
Right? So accountability is a serious thing with the Most High. If you witness evil, you are just as guilty if you don't come forth. Also, you can't really love a person if you see them struggling in sin and you don't address it. You know where they are going and what they will suffer if they don't repent, yet you say nothing, right? Whether you realize it or not, if they are in rebellion, they are serving another God and you are witnessing it. There are demons all around us who we serve when we are in sin. Open your spiritual eyes. So does everyone get that? So for instance, if somebody is going to entice me to do something that's contrary to the Most High, then you have to be able to say, okay, well, that's not according to the God of the Most High, so that may be according to the God of this world. And if so, they're not going to say, hey, let's serve the God of this world. But the actions that they want you to be accompanied with them really shows the God who you're serving. Right? So I'll give you an example. Well, guess what? We've seen some guys coming with some stuff, we're going to rob them. Well, the God that I deal with, thou shalt not steal. So, if the God that I serve, says do not do that, but the God that you serve, or the mindset of this world, which is being governed by a God, says it's okay for you to steal, is that person leading you to serve another God? I would say yeah. Right? If, a brother comes to you and says, you know what, we need to bear false witness against this individual. I need you to be my co-conspirator to make up a lie against this brother. And you say, okay, yeah, sure. Through my allegiance, me and you go way back, you're my road dog. Now, are you serving another God? Because the God of Israel says, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. What does Satan do? What does Satan say? I'm going to be the accuser of the brethren. Right? So, and we know that accusation's not, we know he's the father of lies as well. So that accusation a lot of times, is going to be based on lies. Not all the time. I'm just saying there's going to be times where it's going to be based on lies. So I'm just saying by our action really shows the God that we are serving. So we got to really make that clear. Anytime we're doing something that is contrary to Most High, that is considered sin, should I say, right? We're not serving the Most High, but we're serving another God, another power, a demon that's really trying to have its flesh fed. Got to call it for what it is, right? Let's continue though. Let's go Hosea chapter 3 verse 1.
Con. The book of Hosea chapter 3, we read in 1 to 5. Then said the Most High unto me, Go yet, love a woman beloved of her friend, yet an adulteress, according to the love of the Most High toward the children of Israel, who look to other gods and love flagons of wine. So I bought her to me for 15 pieces of silver, and for an homer of barley, and an half homer of barley. And I said unto her, Thou shalt abide for me many days. Thou shalt not play the harlot, and thou shalt not be for another man. So will I also be for thee. For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, and without a prince, and without a sacrifice, and without an image, and without an ephod, and without a teraphim. Afterward shall the children of Israel return, and seek the Most High their God, and David their king, and shall fear the Most High and his goodness in the latter days.
All right, so adulterers do things in secret. We claim to love the Most High, yet we commit spiritual adultery with other gods through our sins. We have suffered many things because of our sin, yet we still rebel. right? So we suffer many things. We understand why we suffer them. Rather than do what's right, we still continue to rebel, right? There will be a remnant who will finally serve the Most High and free themselves, right? Now, I want to look at this for a second. And I want to ask ourselves, because we know Hosea, he was told to get a woman living a particular lifestyle and to love her, to kind of show the Most High's relationship with him and Israel. Him and his woman, Israel, right? The question that I have to ask us, and really all of us, including myself up here, what do we love more than the Most High? So I'll repeat that a question again. What do we love more than the Most High? And I say that because I know with our mouths, we say we love the Most High. But if we examine ourselves, we'll realize that there's other things that has our attention more than the Most High. And I'll give you an example. Some of us will get up in the morning, right? We'll do everything else. Even if our heart's desire, we'll get up, do backflips, do our exercises, do this and do that. And then after that, we'll squeeze in the Most High. What you love more? What's more, and maybe that's not the best example. I'll use another example. Some will get up and dealing with a particular sin, whatever it may be. Or I'll just deal with this. It's kind of safer ground. Doesn't have to be sin. Some will get up and make sure before they leave their house, they had their coffee, their eggs, their nice, big breakfast. And then squeezing the Most High at the end. Or better yet, you know what? No, squeezing the Most High. Father, I thank you for this meal. So they'll pray over their food. And they make sure that is done every day religiously. They don't miss that morning meal. But they miss their time with the Most High. Well, who do you love more? You love your belly. Your belly can become a god, You see what I'm saying? So you love your belly more than you love the Most High. And as I said, you're not literally serving another God, but your actions show who's more who you love more. If you love your belly, and that's what I said, where your heart is, so will your treasure be, so will your time be. So you make the time to get up, make your breakfast, do all of that. Make sure you don't leave your house without doing that. But leaving your house before you give the Most High thanks for another day, yeah. I'll squeeze that in somewhere. I'll do it when I'm on the bus or I'm at work. Right? So, these are the things that I said. These are the things that we put before the Most High. And I said, they may not look as, idols or things that have our attention and whatnot, but really and truly, they have taken more priority than the Most High. Because you make sure that they happen. And as I said, that can be anything. And that's why you have to examine yourself and say, okay, here what? How's that morning routine? How is, certain things where, is this more important than me doing this for the Most High, or putting this time to invest and, bear fruit? Is this more important than that? Because if that's the case, then it should be clear who's the God you serve. And the reality is, what happens is, because you can't serve both of them. You love one, and you're going to hate the other one. So what I mean by this is, our actions show that we love our bellies, but our mouths say we love the Most High. You see the problem with that? So really, our actions have to reflect what our mouths say. So I'm going to leave that there. And we're going to move on. Let's get John chapter 8, verse 31.
Okay. John chapter 8, verse number 31. We'll be reading to 36. Then said Yeshua to those Jews which believed on him, If ye continue in my word, then are ye my disciples indeed. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. They answered him, We be Abraham's seed, and were never in bondage to any man. How sayest thou, ye shall be made free? Yeshua answered, Verily, verily, I say unto you, whosoever committeth sin is the servant of sin, and the servant abideth not in the house forever, but the Son abideth ever. If the Son therefore shall make you free, ye shall be free indeed.
Right? So Israel couldn't understand this. And you know the thing that's a little bit strange? They were under the Romans during this time. So even in captivity, we can still have the delusion we're free. Isn't that not the same thing today? Where we're like, yo, brother, you know you're in captivity. What are you talking about? I'm free. Huh? So they never understood this concept of, okay, yeah, I mean, you know, to some degree you have some freedom, but from a spiritual realm, you're in prison right now. You're not free. And it's crazy because if you ever examine sin, you realize that you're really, you know, to some degree, if you don't conquer it before it conquers you, you know, because there come a point in sin where you can actually lose control of your vessel. To the point where the desire, the control that this bondage has is so enticing that it's really only through the grace of the Most High that you can get free from that. Right? Brother Winston, you want to say something?
Concerning the scripture that was just read,
yeah.
He was talking to the Edomites there.
Yes. Or you're saying right here. Read it again. Read it again. Let me see what you're saying.
Then said Yeshua to those Jews which believed on him, If ye continue in my word, then are ye my disciples indeed.
Go on.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. They answered him, We be Abraham's seed, and were never in bondage to any man. How sayest thou, ye shall be made free?
So you're saying that this was the Hellenist Jews, so to speak, not the Hellenist Jews, but the Herodians?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to look into that some more. I'm going to look into that some more. And it was saying that because they consider themselves Abraham's seed, that's why I said, let me look at that somewhere, right? But nonetheless, the concept of them not understanding spiritually, as long as you're serving a sin and whatnot, you are in bondage and whatnot. And I said, if you examine yourself, you'll see how enticing it can be. It can control you. And there's some forms of that you know, they'll call it addiction. That's how they classify it now. But really, addiction is a form of demonic possession where that person, to some degree, has lost control of their vessel, and they all have a demon that is desiring to constantly be fed. And they will go through great lengths to have that demon fed. Right? But we all have a form of it, to be honest. If you self-diagnose yourself, we all have a form of it. And we have to identify it. That way we can identify the spirit that's trying to keep us in bondage and rid ourselves from that spirit. But I believe we all have a form of that spirit that leads us to sin. Right? Let's continue though. So be free through the understanding that the Most High sent through his Son, and cease to be in agreement with other evils. Right? Let's get Leviticus chapter 19, verse 17.
Okay, Leviticus chapter 19, we'll be reading 17 and 18.
Go on.
Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor, and not suffer sin upon him. Thou shalt not avenge, nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Most High.
Right? So if I love myself, I will refuse sin. And if I love my neighbor, I will also demand of them the same. Love thy neighbor as thyself, right? Most people don't understand real love. Real love may require you to be honest as a witness, regardless of whether your friends will stand with you or not. Question is, if they don't, then what was your friendship really built on? Right? So some of us were so afraid to offend, so afraid to lose friendship. We're so afraid to not be part of the in club, to be ostracized, that we at times compromise to do what we know is right. Rather than taking a stand and do what's right, we choose not to. We choose the easier path and just say nothing or do nothing. Right? You got to be careful of that, as I've been saying. But, I try to keep this mentality with everyone. If you're my friend, it's a two-way street though. If you're my friend, I need you to tell me about myself when I go off. When I go left, I need you to tell me about myself. Likewise, if you're my friend, I need also the ability to also tell you potentially if you're going off as well. And if you cannot agree to those terms, then maybe we love each other from a distance. But those are the type of friends that I need. Anybody knows me, as I said it throughout the years, I hate yes man clubs where everybody's yes. No, I don't like that. Anybody who's ever known me, I'm going to tell you as a friend, and I'm going to tell you in love, and I'm going to tell you respect. But I also want you to tell me when I'm wrong, and in love and respect. And through that, no love lost. Because it's out of love. It's out of respect. You know what I mean? But that's the type of that's who we want in our inner circles. Right? Because I'm going to tell you, you have some friends. And we talked about some of the friends. Some of the friends, when you're stealing or whatnot, and they're benefited off of you. But as soon as you're in trouble time, they're gone. Right? You have some friends that are like that. Sirach chapter 10 tells you have some friends that as long as they're eating at your table, they're good. But you have some friends that are even looking to set you up. So it'll be like, yeah, go, do it. And then they know you're going to get yourself in problems. And they're sitting back saying, yes, now I can take his territory, I can take his whatever they're trying to accomplish. You're out of the way. In some cases, you know what I want is a girl. And I'm throwing all the possibilities out there. But it's still the same scheme. Let's continue though.
Acts.
Let's get Acts chapter 5. Let's get 40 to 42.
Okay, Acts chapter 5, 40. And to him they agreed, and when they had called the apostles and beaten them, they commanded that they should not speak in the name of Yeshua, and let them go. And they departed from the presence of the council, rejoicing that they were counted worthy to suffer shame for his name. And daily in the temple and in every house they ceased not to teach and preach Yeshua the Anointed.
All right, so even at the penalty of jail, being beaten, and even death, the disciples continued their work. Against all odds, we must stand for the truth of the Most High. People will come and go, but the kingdom is forever. Choose who you will serve. Let's get 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 11, and start closing out scripture right here.
All right.
Right, but prepare to stand out amongst the masses. Right? Remember, there's coming a time where they shall cast you out of their houses. There's going to come a time where all those that are still plugged into this world are going to persecute the righteous. You will not be in. You will not be liked. Prepare for it. Because this is the call that we've been called to be part of. But we also understand the reward if we hold on, if we hold firm, if we trust the Most High, the reward that comes with that. Right? Go on.
1 Corinthians 13, verse number 11. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things.
All right, so it's time for us to grow of age before this age passes away. Brothers and sisters, the kingdom of heaven is closer than we think. And how much of a true statement is that? With everything that we're seeing right now. We are close. Right? We are right before the storm. But it's fastly brewing. Anyways, thank you guys. Say our praise to the Most High. We're just going to open up for any questions, any statements.